Okay, we are live. Okay. Happy Monday, everybody. So Pete Erickson back here this morning. Hope everyone had a great weekend. I know we did. And we are approaching the 30-day mark here for Voice Summit 2019, getting super excited. Been months and months of planning, which included a call for proposals that brought in more than 400 speaking proposals. We could not accept them all. We had to really go through and be diligent about what the program would be made up of. And we have a bunch of great speakers joining us, actually more than 300 speakers from around the world, 25 countries, I believe. One of those speakers is Steve Goldstein. Steve is with Amplify Media. Steve, good morning. How you doing?
Hey, good morning. And so I'm happy to be one of the chosen.
Yes, you are. You are. So tell us a little bit about you and Amplify.
Sure. So I am a legacy broadcast guy, commercial radio. We started a company, I don't want to tell you how many years ago, but we built it up, took it public on the New York Stock Exchange. So a great run. The company is called Saga Communications. But I started getting itchy 4 years ago, looking at how my kids were consuming media and thinking, boy, this is really going to be on demand. Mm-hmm. And so I jumped into the podcast universe 4.5 years ago. And sequentially, we now have the smart speaker thing. So doing that, and our focus, we work as an advisory and consulting firm for a lot of top media companies, ABC, Beasley, Dave Ramsey, Trader Joe's, companies like that.
Trader Joe's. Well, I've got a 7 and 8 year old. I have to tell you, we love that brand.
It's a great brand.
Yeah, it's funny. And thank you for that great background, and congratulations on all your success, and taking a company up to a public offering, and then maybe having some time to think about what's next. This is an exciting space. I have to tell you, people ask, when did you first start getting interested in voice? And I go back to it was really the Siri release in 2011. And at the time, MoDev was a mobile developer community, hence the name. And our developers were really itching to get access to Siri to enhance their apps. And it's an interesting decision that Apple didn't make, right? They didn't open up Siri at that time. Right. But I knew just that there was a big demand for it. And, here we are, 9 years later with, very widely distributed devices now that are talking to us in our homes, and a whole ecosystem for developers, brands to, start to engage in a new way. I think too, you mentioned podcasting, kind of layer podcasting on top of all that. And it's definitely an exciting time.
Well, so you have to think about these devices as content distribution platforms first and foremost. Right. I mean, yes, we use the thing it's a timer. We use it for our shopping list. I mean, there are many great applications, but it's a speaker. And so what are you going to do? And we see a lot of companies rushing into the business, putting up a lot of content that doesn't resonate particularly well with customers, or they can't figure out how to use it. So you've got design issues and you have content issues. That's really where I'm focused. I'm a content first guy, always have been. And so then you layer on podcasting, which isn't doing particularly well in smart speakers. And yet intuitively you would think it would do well,
right? Because
it's audio. And so I think that will improve over time as well.
Yeah, I think it is interesting to see the engagement start to change. I think moving from the home into our cars, and using the access to, voice enabled, entertainment and media. So I do see this change. It's not unlike text messaging. If you looked at, text messaging and T9, which was, on a little Nokia 6160, right? Where you had to basically filter through, and then that T9 technology got smarter, so it could start to understand, what we were trying to type. We're kind of in that similar situation,
Absolutely. Yes. I do think all of this coming to the car is a key factor.
Right.
I was at CES in January, and you cannot walk around there without noting how the car companies are trying to figure out what they're going to do. Well,
Mhm.
on the podcast side, Google jumped in, and so Apple did with their own CarPlay and Android Auto as a means of simplifying things. Well, what's the next step of simplification
Right.
on the audio side? It's voice, and it just removes a ton of friction. So that is going to happen as well, and that's going to change how people call up content. There's going to be some chaos for a
Right.
while, but those who figure out how to create the right messages will benefit.
Yeah, I think that, so I think the biggest change maybe from last year to this year is the content. I think that there is there is a ton more content available. The big studios are starting to understand how to create multimodal engagements. And, I think the broadcasters, if you look at some of the acquisition activity that's happened, with Spotify and Gimlet, and, it's the battle lines are being drawn and it's shaping up. So let's talk a little bit about, let me do a little screen share here of panel that you're sitting on at Voice Summit. So we're going to be talking about advertising in the age of voice. And certainly the advertising and the monetization models are going to be key to, making this all work. When we did another different format interview on Friday here with the founders, Joel and Sarah, the founders of Matchbox.io. They have a game on Alexa that's actually very successful, and they have a subscription model. And there are some early indications that monetization and advertising is starting to come around in the space and starting to be that platform that people can build on. Let's touch on that a little bit. What are you seeing in the market right now from an advertising standpoint, and where do we expect this to go for the next year?
So at the beginning, I think Amazon in particular, Google less so, was pretty allergic to commercialization. I think they've come to the correct realization that brands and others need to have a pathway to monetize all of this. On the advertising front, I think it's primarily short messaging, which feels appropriate to me, meaning 5-10 second billboard sort of ads. You hear in commercial radio, which is increasing its consumption in smart speakers, a pass through of the ads that run inside their streams. You see brands such as NPR monetizing with some branded announcements as well. I think you'll see that evolution continue. Hopefully, there will be respect for the medium and not over commercialize. And then there are, as you indicated, there's subscription models and other ways of generating income beyond traditional advertising.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. Well, there's a lot of talk about, the Amazon and Google platforms. Amazon is a shopping platform traditionally, not an advertising platform. Although, the sponsored posts inside Amazon.com are a huge revenue driver for them. But then, Google's a search company, and they're maybe more predisposed to, paid placement and that. It will be really interesting to see, how it evolves this year. But I think there's progress being made. But I know that I definitely know we're not there yet. That's why we're excited for the conversation. This panel that you're going to be on should be really illuminating. Everybody that's there has been really at the cutting edge of where brands and agencies are related to voice. So I expect a really compelling conversation. And if you are watching out there and you are at all interested in what's happening in the voice space, voicesummit.ai is the conference. It is July 22nd through the 25th in Newark, New Jersey. The 22nd will be a day of deep dive workshops, a hackathon, and we're also going to have a STEAM day that day. We are opening up a special program that day sponsored by Prudential for kids in middle school and early high school years as our commitment to helping get more kids exposed to the space. But if you are at all interested, this is the place to be. We have more than 300 speakers coming from around the world, including experts like Steve Goldstein with a deep background in media broadcasting and how this space is converging now with the Alexa or Google Home or the in-car speaker that you have when you drive to work in the morning. So, Steve, it's been great chatting with you. Any final thoughts as we get on with our weeks here?
You mentioned Google. What is that? $117 billion text business, and it is going to migrate somehow to voice. So there's they have a big stake in this. Amazon learning as they go. We're all learning as we go.
Right.
So I think that's why the conference is so valuable, is because you need an opportunity to pull all this stuff together and just sort of take it all in one place. That's why I'm excited to be there.
Well, thanks so much, Steve. We appreciate you coming out and joining us, and we hope you can join us as well. Again, voicesummit.ai is the web address for the conference. Check it out. And if you are a student or you are transitioning or need some economic assistance, we have scholarships. So definitely please apply for a scholarship if you want to join us there. Steve, great chatting with you. Have an awesome week.
Take care. Thanks.
Cheers. Yep. Thank you. Bye.